Experience tranquility.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Overwatch Tranquility Cup. My name is TheLitsey, joined today by Dank Monkey. How are you doing today?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. Pretty good night for some Overwatch, if I do say so myself. Sorry.
Absolutely. Today we have a pretty interesting matchup in front of us. It is Invictus versus Alt F4. And as we're looking at these teams, there's a few things to look at. We were talking with the leaders of these teams. The leader of Invictus, his name is Booth, asked him some questions about the players and whatnot. And one person that they pointed out on their team is Smirk, who has just apparently very good calls, and Smirk's mechanics in particular will carry them through fights that they otherwise would have lost. So definitely keep an eye on them.
These are teams, I'm new here casting, so I don't really know a whole lot about either of these teams, but I'm extremely excited for the games tonight.
We have a lot of things to look forward to today. Right now, we're just trying to get everybody into the game, and we're going to be able to go once we do. But for now, of course, we're going to be playing one of each type of map. Once we get into all of that, looks like we're probably going to be starting over on Ilios.
So Ilios is one of my favorite maps. You get to see a lot of environmentals there on. Oh, so not Ilios. So control will actually be Lijiang Tower, and again, one of my more favorable maps. You get I always forget the names of what point is which, but the one with the bridges, it's such a fun Lucio map for me, and it's a really good Pharah map as well. You see a lot of that. You saw a lot of it in the OWL. A lot of pharmacy battles, and it's really just an interesting time because each point is so different.
Absolutely. I believe the one that you're thinking of would be Gardens, and absolutely, it is one of the most fun maps in the game. For me, someone who plays a lot of different characters with boops and other dislocation abilities, there is an insane amount of environmental kill potential. Chat is blowing up right now. A little bit of love for Alt F4 tonight, and we'll see if they can ride that hype to a victory as we go through this.
Currently still waiting on Alt F4 to get into the lobby, and then we will be rolling as soon as we can. So we apologize for the delay.
That is how it goes. But that's we figure it out as we go along. So if we do go back, let's talk a little bit about Alt F4. Now the leader of the team is O Stories, and when talked about who sort of the MVP on their team is, it would be either Ghost or Godspeed for them. Very, very good players, lots of ability, and just overall good mechanics. And looks like these teams, and also both teams are saying that they are looking forward to every single map today. So hopefully they are prepared for everything that can be thrown at them as we get through our maps. Like I said, to start, Lijiang Tower. So yeah, you got your gardens, night market, and control center, and they all offer very different play styles and very different approaches.
I completely agree with you. We're also going to be seeing Volskaya, Kings Row, and Route 66 today. Oh, Volskaya, let's talk about that map a little bit. It's very dive intensive. It's not really I'm thinking of the wrong map. Can be very dive intensive. You got a lot of high ground there. Really good. I've seen some Bastion bunker comps run there. I've seen a lot of different things on that map. But that's just point one, and then point two opens up such a different nutshell of comps you can run.
And yeah, and also with the introduction of Symmetra into the meta, she's been out of meta for a while, and then over the last month or so, she's been coming back in a really big way. And on Volskaya Industries, see that a lot. Oftentimes you see teams go across the Volskaya gap using Symmetra, but that can be an incredibly risky play. But if it pays off in big ways, allowing you to get it possibly behind the enemy team. And if you don't get behind the enemy team, then you're at least on the high ground.
For sure, but that's something that you've got to execute very quickly because, you don't see a team walking through that main choke for a little while. You kind of wonder what's going on, and especially with Symmetra showing up a lot more with this double barrier meta that is coming into Overwatch, it's kind of expected that you're going to run the sim. She just, gets super high powered off of the constant shield. So if you don't see the enemy team walking through that main choke, you might want to check on that outside.
And and a lot of that is information gathering. A lot of that is recon. A lot of that is game sense, knowing what exactly is going on in the map at all times. Having someone who can look there, even if you have, say, a Widowmaker putting a Venom mine down for just that little bit of information gathering can be essential. And then also having a team that is dynamic enough to be able to improvise and be able to move out of the way or into the position that they need to be in order to counter those sorts of strategies.
And that's where like a Lucio or a Pharah, even an Ashe, comes into really big play on that first if they have the Symmetra. But, that's not something that you can just bank on. So let's talk a little bit about Kings Row, a huge crowd favorite. Maybe not here, but maybe it is. But community favorite map as the hybrid map for the night. How do you personally feel about this map?
There's a lot of all the maps. There's a lot of very interesting things that can happen on Kings Row in particular. There's a lot of opportunity for those long range compositions that you don't always see in other maps that don't have such long sight lines, especially on the first point. And then that transitions into a very hectic close quarters combat area right near the last checkpoint.
Something that is my favorite that I've seen on that map is when the gladiators went goats and fully ran around the point, kind of caught their enemy off guard, and then you had, I believe it was Surefour on the Brigitte, just kind of standing in spawn, chilling, waiting, not moving. And then once his team got into position, the Widowmaker grapples up and just starts taking out people from behind. And it was so greatly executed that the staff there actually thought that his computer had a problem.
The great Bamboozle will live on in our memories for all time, as was just such a huge, solid play.
So our final map for the night that we have will be Route 66, and that's going to be our escort map for the night. It starts off with kind of a long sight line to the immediate spawn door. A lot of teams you see hold up on the big Earls, but you also have that small cave that, I've seen some teams just kind of bunker up in there and contest from the very front of that cave. Do you think that that's a good strat, or would you rather see teams set up on big Earls?
I mean, I want to see teams think up of different ways to do it. Don't just look at what Overwatch League does and play that, because this is a different game, really, than what they are playing. Really, Overwatch League, I feel like a lot of people, of course, they are the best players, and those are the best strategies, but sometimes they take a level of coordination, and sometimes they take and also sometimes the reason why they work is because they are going up against these highly coordinated teams. Sometimes you can abuse the fact that teams at this lower level are not quite as coordinated, not quite as up to speed as those Overwatch League teams are. So utilize strategies that work for your team. Oftentimes they are not the same thing.
Getting into this, and we are going to be heading into Lijiang Tower for our control map for the night.
And as we view this beautiful nighttime landscape, of course, let's talk a little bit about strategy. We've talked a little bit about it before on Gardens in, or not Gardens, in Night Market in particular. There's a lot of environmental kill strategies, and I've also seen teams utilize Symmetra in very interesting ways. Setting up the teleporter into the upper window was even something that I saw in a Gold Division game in a different league not too long ago. And that strategy worked incredibly well for that team. They were able to cut down their respawn time significantly, and also ended up just getting directly onto the point. And the teleporter was in a hard spot to hit.
And that's something that you can do a lot with Symmetra, is if you can get to a weird place where the enemy team isn't expecting it, then you're going to be able to take advantage of that teleporter a lot more. Just playing a game earlier, we had a Symmetra that kept teleporting a Hanzo in behind us onto the high ground, and it was kind of just ruining every single push that we had.
And now we get also look at these teams' compositions as they start going towards the point. We are going to be seeing the new hero Sigma onto the side of Alt F4. But with O stories down, missing their Doomfist, missing a lot of DPS, will they be able to take this? Alt F4 gets on the point. Jet dropping incredibly low is going to fall to Shadow Devil. And picking up a second kill is going to be taking out an enemy Mei, and it looks like Alt F4 will not be able to take the point this time, as it is just Poet left, won't be able to get away.
Alt F4 lost Jet there on the Sigma extremely early in that fight, and immediately losing one of your shields is going to be a huge problem for that team. They're sticking on the Sigma, but I think they need to play just a little bit safer here to keep him alive.
And, as they start adjusting their strategy, Invictus staying a little bit back right now, waiting for their team to get ready, and they start moving. gonna have to deal with that Symmetra and that Farm Mercy up at the top. Taking out Shadow Devil is definitely a good start for that. But there's a Rocket Barrage coming from above, coming from behind. Aster is going to be taking out Inkazu, the Moira, on the side of Alt F4 before falling as well. Ghost Pants having to rush past that Symmetra shield. Booth taking a lot of damage is going to fall. Coalescence to come through on the side of Invictus and not going to work. Booped over the edge by Poet. Looks like this point is going to Alt F4.
And Alt F4 taking a really strong engage there on the initial fight. Started to split the team there with the Maywall and getting an early pick, which was crucial. Invictus popping the Rocket Barrage could have been huge, but the team of Alt F4 was just so aggressive into getting onto that point with the Orisa Hog that it only caught the Moira there on the side of Invictus. So it was a really good play to just be so aggressive for Alt F4.
And a big teleport directly onto the point. A Blizzard from Alt F4 is going to try and counter it. Booth frozen as well as Shadow Devil. Booth is going to fall. Shadow Devil surviving for now, able to mostly get away, and now is going to have to deal with the point, though most of their team has already fallen. Ghostpants taking out Shadow Devil and Memorex. That is going to be a solid defense.
The point got flipped there for just a second, which is why you didn't see Shadow Devil trying to get out, more just trying to stay on the point there. Getting that little bit of percentage could be the key to victory if they take another fight here.
It is just really a battle of increments here, as Grizz has swapped over to the Hammett, and once again another teleport coming through to get the point, or to get the team directly onto the point. Also, Aster swapping over to the Reaper for that huge damage in close quarters, which is what they are vying for right now. Shadow Devil using the shield to split the point a little bit in about fifths there, but seems like it isn't going to be working for the side of Invictus as they do begin to fall. Two Coalescence going at each other. Ghostpants on the point, having to survive against Astra. Won't be able to do it, though. Now, the three members of Invictus are trying to hold on. Their team is starting to respawn. They have that Symmetra teleporter up in the top window, and it seems to be working for them. As they do swap the point, it's 99 to 50%. And overtime has been triggered. It's now just really a battle of attrition here, as both teams are going to be trying to take the point back. Asura getting onto the point, putting out a lot of damage onto Ghostpants. And there are the mines on the point. That makes it incredibly difficult for Alt F4 to maneuver around the point. And already Jet taking a lot of damage from that, going to be healed right back up, though. Now, there is the Death Blossom. Asura going to be picking up a double kill from that. Ghostpants using the ground pound to get a little bit of CC in there, quite a bit of ult charge, but is right now sitting at 57% with Jet down, not able to contest it any longer.
Invictus played that so well, doing a strat that got them to the point so fast. Were able to flip the point before Alt F4 was able to even make it back. So even if they lose that fight there, that's still a winning fight for them. It's still a win in their book because they got the point to flip and were still getting all of that percentage the whole time that they were either losing or winning that fight. And no matter the outcome of that fight, that's still a one fight in my eyes.
Absolutely. And as now sitting on 1-0, Invictus is going to have to try and clean this out as fast as possible. They had the opportunity to just take Li Zhang here, but it was a close fight all the way to the end.
And it definitely was really good ult usage from the side of Alt F4 to try to retake, but not quite able to do it on that last one.
Jet now on the Reinhardt, trying to push right up on top of the enemy booth. Caught out by the Maywall, is going to be taken out with no main tank. Invictus is in a little bit of trouble. Astra trying to even it up, won't be able to. It's now Ostor is on the Reaper, is cleaning up.
And that's such a huge fight for the side of Alt F4 to take that so quickly. Godspeed, getting that huge wall and able to catch off, I believe it was Grizz on the Sigma, was just the key play to there.
And now, as Stories is sitting at that door is going to back up behind Jet's shield here. A lot of this is stalling, but there's a symmetric teleporter put down before the May wall went up. Doesn't matter. A huge hammer down, not before Jet falls, but looks like it is going to be Ghost Pants and Godspeed cleaning up.
That was looking like such a promising engage for the side of Invictus, and just not able to shield that shatter from Jet was the biggest problem there. You know, they had such the strong advantage, the element of surprise, and then that shatter comes out and your whole push is just ruined.
And that was a huge shatter. Once again, utilizing the Symmetra teleporter. A wall cuts off just one member, just Lemon Ghoul. But there's the Graviton Surge catching, 5 members. Another Earth Shatter and a huge Death Blossom is going to clean up that fight.
Jet just built that Earth Shatter so quickly, but when you teleport your whole team in to the range of the Reinhardt, he's gonna get that really fast. You know, you had 6 people all in one spot, and he's just able to freely swing and fire strike on your team while being, you know, pocketed by the Moira and the Lucio. He's gonna get that ult extremely fast, and comboed with O-Story's Reaper Death Blossom, that was just a devastating fight.
And now looks like it's going to be trying to swap around the outside, but no, Poet with the triple boop is going to shut that plan down.
Poet getting the perfect read there, seeing that the people were coming around the outside with the Sim teleporter, and was not going to let that happen. And Jet even taking himself off the map there, going for a charge to try to block off that doorway. Just a gorgeous read from the side of Alt F4 on every single fight.
So that's definitely a change from the first point that we saw, where Alt F4 lost it. They had about 50% capture, but there it was 100-0.
And that's, honestly, I think it just comes down to the point. You can get to that top window and you're not immediately getting jumped on. You have a little bit of time to kind of get your bearings, get set up on point while still capping, where on the last one, you get into that hallway and the enemy team is just right in your face. And I think that's really what killed the Symmetra strat for Invictus.
And now we'll see if Alt F4 can keep up that momentum and start moving towards the point. Shadow Devil trying to get the punch off, won't be able to quite land it. Backing up now behind the enemy team. Huge Hammond knockup coming from Grizz onto the back line. But right now, it looks like Alt F4 will be able to get onto the point. Grizz getting right back onto the point as well as Shadow Devil. Getting a big knockup, followed up by another ground pound from Grizz. Little work, though, doesn't look like it, as it now picking up 2 kills versus 1. Alt F4 is looking pretty solid on this point, stopping Grizz's spin to win using a wall and a little bit of booping as well. Not able to quite stop it fully, not able to get the freeze, as now Alt F4 starting to hold the point pretty convincingly here. Jet is returning. Booth dropping incredibly low, is going to get knocked out of mech, but there are the mines already, followed up by a meteor strike. Will they be able to survive this? Ghostfans being able to use that for a little bit more charge is sitting at quite a lot now. It's outputting a ton of damage. Going to be dropping the Graviton Surge. Not going to be able to hit anybody, though, as Shadow does get caught it right in the very end, and there is a revive. Memorex coming back, another healer, and it looks like, I mean, this has been going on for quite a while. Neither team has been able to take the point yet. This is a trickle fight for the ages, a battle of attrition. Jet getting on top of Grizz is taking quite a bit of damage. There's a Blizzard, gets eaten by Booth. Won't be able to get onto the point, as now the hammer down comes through, doesn't catch anybody, as Grizz is being so maneuverable, trying to get away from the enemy team. Does have to back off of the point after dropping pretty low, trying to get back onto it, getting booped around a little bit, getting charged, and the point does go to Alt F4.
I'm going to have to give a lot of that done on the side of Invictus to Shadow Devil. He was really doing a lot of work, built ult extremely quickly. Every time he went in with his E ability, the Seismic Slam, I believe, was hitting like 4 or 5 people and kind of was just doing a lot of work, but not able to kill it out.
And Azura picking up a triple kill, followed up with another, is going to open up Alt F4 and take the point.
And that rocket barrage was just able, from Azura, they're just able to completely open that up, getting 2 or 3 picks right at the beginning, and it's just a huge factor for Snowball when the ult comes out that early.
And O-Stories using the high noon there, possibly a little bit questionably, wasn't able to get behind the shield. And a lot of follow-up is coming from Invictus here, getting all the way into the enemy team here. Just towards their spawn, there's a Graviton Surge, though. Will they be punished for their offensiveness? Now, Memorex trying to get out, won't be able to survive. And now it's a battle for the point as Asira and Booth are trying to hold on. Booth dropping pretty low here and is going to get knocked out of the mech. Will they be able to contest it long enough? Looks like they are, as Shadow Devil and Grizz are able to get onto the point to contest it a little while longer. Also using the Valkyrie, Lemgul able to get a revive onto Booth. Going to be trying to get that mech back. Godspeed using the wall to try and seal Booth out of the point. But Grizz, spinning around, does get caught by the charge, dropping very low, is going to get knocked out by Jet. There's a nuke that isn't going to be catching anybody. Asura behind the enemy team doing a lot of damage as Shadow Devil is now getting onto the backline, getting a lot off, but gets hit by the hammer down. Ghostpan's able to drop a lot of damage into them and pick up the kill against the enemy Doomfist. Now, Jet cleaning up the fight. Memorex and Lemgul trying to contest the point. Grizz is back as well. And they've been able to bring the capture progress all the way to 85% here by just contesting the point time and time again. But looks like they won't be able to any longer. The point goes to Alt F4.
You know, I'm not a huge fan of using ultimates to try to stall out a point, but when you stall it out to where you only need one more point take to win the game, and now you have 2 ultimates where the enemy team only has the Zarya Graviton Surge, I definitely agree with the ult usage coming out from Invictus there and Shadow Devil going in for something.
There's a Meteor Strike going after Ghostpants. Now that Zarya is caught out from the allied team a little bit, will be able to get back to the point. But with Stories down, will they be able to contest the point any longer? Looks like they can, as Ghostpants is going to be picking up a double kill. But lots of contention coming through here as Booth is going to be taking out Poet. That's a good amount of healing, and also the speed boost getting taken away. There's mines on the point, makes it very difficult to move around. Jet trying to clear them out with the shield, gets punched against the wall, trying to protect the backline, won't be able to do it against Shadow Devil. Gets blocked off by the wall a little bit, and there's the Blizzard on the point. Is going to be catching Booth, is going to be able to get back into the mech, but won't be able to escape. Gets frozen, but able to stay alive thanks to Lemgul. Now, testing the point even longer. It's now gone to 85%. On the side of Alt F4. Graviton Surge comes through, is going to be catching Grizz and Booth. Booth does fall as well as Grizz. Now, Memorex trying to contest the point a little while longer with Asira. Asira is going to fall, and the point is going to stay on the side of Alt F4 as we approach 100%. Overtime is triggered as Shadow Devil is able to get onto the point, but High Noon to secure it out. No, Grizz into the back, contesting out a little while longer, and there's a nuke. Will this be able to catch anybody? No, it will not. Now Booth on the point, back in the mech, gets knocked out yet again. Gets a little bit of healing from the ally Moira. Asura using the rocket barrage, won't be able to pick up anything with it. Jet having to maneuver out of the way of that coalescence, gets right into Shadow Devil's sights. Won't be killed quite yet. Charge comes through from Jet, doesn't catch anybody. Booth back inside of the mech. Jet hit by that Meteor Strike. Will not be able to hold the point. Now, swapping over to the Doofus. Godspeed won't be able to hold it either. Will the point go over to the side of Invictus? Poet trying to get into contestants a little while longer. Will be able to. Just trying to keep that overtime going. Won't be able to hold it for long, though. Now, Ghostpants onto the Hammond, and there's a shatter. But will it be enough? Is there enough follow-throughs? Doesn't seem like it as Jet does fall. Ghostpants getting knocked around. There's mines coming out from Grizz, and it's working as that is sealing off an entire half of the point. Point does go to the side of Invictus. Well, Poet tries to get on, gets hit by the mines. Stories there as well, won't be able to do it. And overtime is ticking down, and that is it. Invictus is taking Lijiang Tower.
That fight was so much longer than I expected it to be. I kind of wanted to see Invictus pull out and take another clean fight just because they were so close to, potentially losing that game. But the whole team just coming together and rallying together, able to pull off what they needed to, and Poet there with play of the game, getting that triple boop, was looking for maybe one more, but not able to get it because there was nobody there.
Just got too many kills straight away. That was a huge game. That was a huge game on both sides, but Invictus is going to be walking away with it for now, but it is not from, any sort of domination. They're both teams fighting neck and neck.
And that's the exact definition of what those fights were, because you don't think those fights are over, and they really weren't over, but the point was kind of just flipping back and forth. And the percentage was just kind of climbing on both sides, and it all came down to that being kind of just one giant fight.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it was just so much contention coming out from both sides, but especially Invictus just staying on the point for as long as they could to get that percentage up just a little bit more, like you were saying, ended up being exactly what they needed.
And it was really surprising to me to see those fights go for so long, because that's something that personally I'm not used to. I'm used to, you start to lose a fight, you either back up or you stagger out if you have the point in your possession. But even when the teams didn't have point in their possession, they were still going in, really hoping to take that fight, and it was still happening. So that was something that I'm not 100% used to, but I enjoy seeing.
Absolutely. And now our next map is going to be Volskaya Industries. And, like we were talking about before, will it, there's a lot of different strategies that come through. And I would love to, we've been seeing a lot of Symmetra plays coming from Invictus, so they could pull that out. And I mean, considering what we saw that game, will probably work for them. But it seems like when they dropped the Symmetra in Gardens, I think Thor kind of got their number on that.
And I agree with that. And you saw that a little bit more in the second point. The Symmetra did get kind of shut down, but this is one that I do like to see the Symmetra come out on. You can either, teleport around the side like we mentioned before, or you can teleport straight onto that front high ground, like the little building there. And that's something that I've seen teams do, is just kind of run straight to point like that. And then you're basically on a defensive position. And if you're a more defensive team, I think the Symmetra would be a really good play here.
And now we get a look at what these teams are going to be running. Looks like it's going to be that Rhine Zarya comp yet again from Alt F4. That did work incredibly well for him, but wasn't enough to take Lijiang Tower. Versus on the other side, we are going to be possibly seeing Booth playing the Sigma, which we did see a little bit last time, but not a whole lot as Alt F4 dropped that, or no, it was Invictus dropped that fairly soon in the first point.
Yeah, and something we haven't seen yet is Sigma's ult this game, because you're seeing a little bit of the Sigma. They realize, oh, this isn't working how we want it to, and then they just drop it pretty quick, go to a tank composition maybe they're more comfortable on. But I think Jet and Ghostpants playing the Rhine Zarya here is going to be pretty strong for them.
I think good to note Invictus going along the inside to not get too close to the wall. I think they were caught a little bit off by Poet. There is the Symmetra teleport. They're going to be getting right on top of Alt F4. Booth dropping very low is going to get taken out. Jet following up on top of Shadow Devil will be able to get the kill. Wall to block off Jet's charge, but catching off Grizz there, a return wall from Alt F4. No, it is going to be catching Hingshu, as looks like this is going pretty well for the side of Alt F4. Going to be securing the point.
I gotta give props to Godspeed there on that Mei. Playing on the inside of that building, knowing that, oh, if I put this wall here, they're still gonna focus on me for a little bit, and that's exactly what Invictus did. They tried to focus down the Mei still even through wall, and that opened up a lot of room for the rest of Alt F4 to really take advantage on, the fact that Invictus wasn't paying attention to them. And then as soon as that team swaps focus, he was able to drop wall and do what he needed to.
And now, up on top of the high ground, using that symmetric teleporter across the gap, like we were talking about earlier, going to be now dropping onto the point. Of course, Smirk staying up there to provide healing. Booth up, be able to get up there as well. But it looks like this is still going the way of Alt F4 as Booth falls into the icy ocean, and this does go once again into the way of Alt F4.
Right now, this is looking like a very dominant hold for Alt F4. Not yet gotten a tick for the side of Invictus. And these fights aren't super long. They're being cleaned up relatively quickly.
Yep, about 1 minute and 50 seconds left. That is plenty of time to take point A. All it takes is one successful fight for the offense. And now going to be using the Symmetro wall to split the map in half a little bit and provide a safe zone for the team to operate from. Asura on the backline is able to take out Godspeed. And that the main missing is a lot of CC that side of Alt F4 doesn't have. A hammer down is going to be catching Shadow Devil, and the charge to follow up. Graviton Surge to catch Grizz. This is not looking good once again for the side of Invictus.
I would like to see that Symmetro wall come out, maybe split the point just a little bit more. They got it right on the edge of the point there where they wanted to engage from, and you're not able to force the team to you because they just have to hold that point. They don't have to do anything about you when you're not on the point. And if you start getting picks while you're on the point, then it becomes a problem. But
Especially
until
with
you push on, then it's not a worry.
Especially with this more close-range composition that they are running as well. If they were running, Widowmaker and Hanzo, stuff like that, it might have worked more effectively, getting them up onto the high ground, providing a lot of protection. But now, trying to get onto the point, Jet knocked into the wall, taking a lot of damage, but getting healed right back up. Mines on the point. It's going to make it very difficult to move around. Jet, taking a little bit of damage, will get healed up, though. Did catch Stories, but will that be enough? A Blizzard to secure the point. Didn't seem to catch anybody. Maybe a little bit preemptive there. 20 seconds left.
Yeah, the Blizzard really could have been used, I think, a lot better right here. If you pop it here at the choke, then it has a lot more value, where now they're just kind of cleaning up staggers, and they're not going to get a good fight anyway.
Grizz is going to be getting onto the point to contest it. Jet coming in to counter. Big miss there. Asira on the Genji, going to be using the blade, but will that be enough? The barrier is out to counter it and pushed off the point. Grizz still on there, though, as Asura has fallen to Jet. Jet now turning their attention back onto the point. Grizz spinning away, trying to hold it. Nuke does catch Poet from above, as now Shadow Devil is going to be using that Meteor Strike to get right onto the point. Jet getting knocked around a little bit. Going to be using the Coalescence to stay alive and shoot on the Moira, providing a lot of healing for their team. Ghost Pants providing Ostrays rather on the far, providing a lot of damage from above. Will not be able to provide enough, though, as this is going to be going over to Invictus. How before a little bit more contention, though.
Poet's going to try, but I don't think he's going to be able to quite pull it on that Lucio. He has been playing extremely well on that Lucio, the beat coming out just in time, before one of his players dies to the blade. Just really good timing there, but unfortunately not able to fully hold a team off with Lucio. It's rather difficult to do. And Invictus, kind of showing their colors now, realizing or making people realize, like, hey, we can take this point at any time. Don't count us out yet.
And taking a lot of aggression straight onto point B. Going to be picking up a double kill, and their minds on the point as well. Jet using the shield to stay out of the Meteor Strike. Won't be able to stay alive long, though. Blizzard not going to be quite getting on the point, but is going to be, or won't be catching anybody. Does seal off Grizz from the point, but has now worn off, able to get back onto the point. Godspeed taken out, and now caught inside a Graviton Surge. Will there be enough follow? Doesn't look like it. Ghost Pants not able to put out enough damage on their own. Does fall while trying to go for the Mega Health Pack. Jet contesting the point with that Hammond spinning right around the middle won't be able to do it for long, though. Gets CC'd out of it. Godspeed swapping over to the Doomfist. Asira using the Rocket Barrage to clean this up, though. It's looking good as 1.5 ticks have already been gotten, just going over 60% capture. Now, getting caught out, Ghostpants is going to be knocked away from the point, going to be going for the Mega Health Pack, going to be trying to get the mech by taking out Lemgul. Won't be able to do it. Lemgul using the Valkyrie to stay alive, provide extra healing and damage boost to the team. Trying to contest this just as much as they can. Poet is there, going to be taken out though. Ghostpants just is a little while longer, gets knocked off the point though. Is now approaching 90%, 95% now as Jet is back to contest it. Mines in the entryway will completely seal off that way of getting to the point. Osory's trying to get through anyway, won't be able to do it. Grizz spinning away, going for the win. Godspeed able to pick up a kill, but won't be able to stay alive as just Poet contested the point, and that is it with 1 minute and 6 seconds left.
You know, Grizz getting in there and just kind of spinning may not seem like the right play. When you knock them into a corner for your Doomfist and your Pharah to just either direct rocket or splash damage rocket onto them, and the Doomfist to guarantee that they hit a wall when you punch them, that is absolutely 100% viable, because the Doomfist, it's really hard to miss somebody who's now knocked back into a corner. Pharah's going to have a lot easier time, and I think Grizz played that really well just by trying to dislocate people from the middle of the point, where, you know, those are a little bit more difficult to do.
The spin to win is a little bit of a judgment call depending on what the enemy team's composition is. If there is reliable CC, then usually going for the spin to win doesn't work very well. But with Jet swapping off onto a Hammond of their own, and Ghostpants going over to the Diva, and Godspeed having to go to the Doomfist, there wasn't a whole lot to really deal with the Hammond, except for the Doomfist and a reverse Hammond charge can slow down overall momentum. But, you know, at that point, then yeah, just start spinning, and it creates a whole zone that is difficult to work in, because you don't know when you're going to get knocked back and damaged.
Granted, if a Hammond decides to also spin to win, then it just kind of becomes pinball, where you're bouncing back and forth off each other, and that kind of secures
the old school clackers.
Yeah, that kind of secures your team half the point to work with, but even then, it's not the best thing, because eventually that randomly gets
direction, which is also very entertaining.
It is, for sure.
It's just a tornado of death. And now on the Ashe, this time Shadow Devil using the dynamite to put a lot of damage, but quickly getting onto the point. A halt to pull in several members of Alt F4, though. Osory's has fallen. Now using the Symmetra Teleporter creates a little bit of opportunity to get up to the high ground. Not going to be taking it. Jet pulled in by the hook is going to get taken out. That isn't looking good for Alt F4 as they try to hold on, but they are falling one by one. Poet down, using the Coalescence to try and output some damage into the enemy team. Booth is going to get taken out, but will that be enough, as now Godspeed is down as well. Ghostpants getting hit by that Symmetra turret, slowed down. Won't be able to get away. Gets hooked, pulled right back in. And it looks like that is going to be fight one for the side of Invictus as they hold the point here. But pulled in yet again. Jet having a lot of trouble, is dropping very low, is going to get killed by the whole hog. Hit by the Nano Boost. Grizz outputting a lot of damage. Won't be able to pick up any other kills though.
And I think that was a really good idea for Alt F4 to try to go around that side, but your team has to be so compact together if you're going to try to take the fight past Invictus, because Booth, getting that really nice pull with the Orisa, was able to pull back half of the team, and then it's kind of just easy pickings.
And now this is still looking good for Invictus as Bob came through, taking out Hingshu on the Moira. Jet's going to fall as well. Doof is already down. And another solid defense.
And losing one there to the Bob deployment was really what ended that fight. Yeah, Bob is such a threat in his own sense when he's standing there shooting you, but the impact damage can alone ruin a fight. You know, you all get knocked up, you get stopped for just a second, and that there alone gives Invictus time to kind of look around and see exactly what they want to do.
When in the air, your trajectory is usually pretty predictable, but now caught inside a Graviton Surge, hammered down to follow through, does catch 2 members. Is this going to allow 3 kills coming through? Lemon Ghoul falling as well. And it looks like that's going to be a point take for the side of Alt F4, as it is just Smirk going to get taken out.
And throwing that Graviton Surge was a really good idea. I thought they were going to push straight to the point there, but seeing that the team is already extremely grouped up, you're able to get a free Graviton onto them with the Orisa shield not being up, and Booth throwing it just a little bit later was, got the shield out in front, so they didn't kill off the Grav, but Jet was able to just walk right past it and get the Shatter.
Grizz in the back line, getting on top of Godspeed, but the barrier to keep them alive and allow them to get directly onto the point, doing a lot of freezing damage. Booth getting hit by that Doofus is going to be kept alive thanks to Smirk's Nano Boots outputting a lot of damage now, but will that be enough? Blizzard going to be completely sealing off that entryway. Grizz is caught by it. Booth caught by it as well. Kept alive by Smirk, though, as Poet and Godspeed have both fallen. Ghostban's close to follow. That is going to be a secure defense.
Lemon Ghoul placing that amplification matrix in a really good spot was able to get the heals onto both Grizz and Booth to keep them both alive. And honestly, I think that if that didn't happen, then that fight could have gone so much differently.
And now looking at these teams, how is it going to play out? Ghostpants is getting a little bit close to that Graviton Surge, could get it very quickly. Grizz is going to be sitting on the minefield, though. That could completely shut down an offense. And that is going to shut down an offense as well. Shadow Devil getting right onto the backline, going to be taking out Ingashu, and with no main heal, that means Alt F4 are going to be falling 1 by 1.
And Azura, they're able to just kind of clean up what Grizz started with that minefield. That minefield was so well placed. It gets a kill on the initial deployment and cuts off anybody wanting to back up. The only way that you can back up at that point is to go all the way around, and that's going to take way too much time to do.
And oftentimes, sometimes just letting yourself get into it is the best thing to do. Now, Jet trying to get right on top of the enemy team. A huge rocket barrage is going to be coming through to catch out Jet. Coalescence try and keep the team alive, but they've already fallen. Hingashu trying to back up and out of danger. Will be able to use the Fade to do so. Still having to worry about that Far Mercy, though. It's like it won't be able to pick up the kill quite yet as the hook doesn't connect, and they're able to get away.
So Azura, they're getting only one with the rocket barrage, but able to put out a lot of damage where the fight was pretty much already lost by.
But there's the hammer down Jet, and the hammer down ends up getting blocked by their own team's Maywall as he slept. A Blizzard to come through is not going to be quite catching, or will be catching Grizz, not quite catching Booth. It is falling through. Hingashu, a little bit of a questionable Coalescence to come through. We have seen a few of those. And one thing that has been pointed out is that Hingashu is new to the scene, so maybe coordination isn't quite up there. But the point capture is going towards Alt F4 a little bit. Jet having to get right into the backline, won't be able to get heals in time, though. And looks like Alt F4 are going to have to back up yet again with only 50 seconds left.
Trying to get out there, but Alt F4 just isn't able to do it. Poet trying to skate backwards and kind of just getting bullied by the Far on the way out. This team of Invictus is working really well together and has a really strong defense where, Alt F4, we didn't see a strong defense here on the second point because Invictus just took this fight immediately and made it into a giant stagger battle.
And now, using the high noon to try and clear the point, will be able to pick up a kill onto Shadow Devil, but a Rocket Barrage in turn is going to be taking out Hingashu, but stunned out, gets killed, and with Booth down, no main tank for the side of Invictus as they try to hold the point. Point capture is progressing forward, does get one tick, trying to clean this out. This is Invictus's chance to stop Volskaya Industries right here, but will they be able to, as overtime is triggered? Now, Jet trying to take out Asura, now swapping over to the Genji to get to the point a little bit faster. Coalescence from Hingashu to keep the team alive. be putting out quite a bit of damage on to Lemon. Oh, is able to pick up a double kill there. Is now Shadow Devil. It's getting onto the point, gets taken out. We're now at 90% capture, just 10% more to go. It approaches step by step. Will be able to do it. Round 2 is complete.
Even though Alt F4 caps there, it's good for Invictus because they ended up taking it to overtime. And taking that to overtime means that Alt F4 only gets to play defense here. They don't get to play the offense. Where now Invictus should only have to get 1 tick to win this map.
But we did see an incredibly solid defense from Alt F4 last time they were in this position. And it took the side of Invictus longer than 1 minute and 6 seconds to get the first tick.
That's where it comes down to. You just have to build the right comp to build your ults quickly. If you can build an ultimate quickly that you know is going to win you the fight, as Azura goes to that Reaper, that might just be able to do it.
But looking to get an early game surprise shutdown, Ostrace is going to be on the Bastion. It's going to be the classic bunker comp, of course, with a Sigma thrown in there. So that is maybe not quite classic. Sigma hasn't been around long enough to be classic, but will it be enough to counter this Symmetra Reaper composition?
I think it all depends on where they set up here. If they're going to set up on top, then they might have just a little bit more problems holding this than if they would sit up on that top right high ground. With Invictus just able to rotate straight to them or not really worry about them at all, they might have just a little bit of problem here.
Looks like they are not going to be using that teleporter to get it across the gap. Instead, it's going to be to get right underneath the enemy team, and it pays off in big ways as Osaris has been taken out, but gets revived right back, but not before Shadow Devil can get a double kill. Osaris set back up, putting out a lot of damage. That's Sigma Barrier already destroyed. Booth trying to hold on to it, does get a good accretion hit on to Osiris. Another shield set back up, is able to get the kill, and that looks like it's going to be it, as Invictus is going to be picking up their second win tonight here on Volskaya Industries.
And that is exactly what I was talking about. Once, that bunker is broken up, you kind of don't have to worry about the Bastion, or you can just kill him immediately, force the res, but that gives your team enough time to do something on the point. And Jet getting the shatter right after the Graviton Surge, knocking down tons of people, able to clean up this fight and take it over for his team.
And once again, neck and neck battle. But Invictus able to pull away, just like they were able to pull away Lijiang Tower. And will they be able to secure it out in the third map? We'll have to see.
These are two teams that I think are pretty well matched. Like, the standings tell us otherwise, but they are extremely neck and neck right now. Just going at it.
And we'll see if they can pull it out after this short break.
Like a free throw. Oh goodness. Oh. Hey Belle, what's up? How are you doing? No, I'm doing great, thanks. Oh yeah, sales are doing tremendous right now. How are your bathwater sales doing? Oh yeah? Really? Congrats. It's a big milestone to hit. I'm proud of you. Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, NPC? Yeah, I know him. He's pretty cool. Wait, he's playing again? That's awesome. Who is he playing for? The Comets. Are you serious? Is that a joke or something? No. I mean it's gonna be better now that NPC's on it though, so like yeah. Oh, really? Yeah, he is pretty cute. I'm not gonna lie. I'll agree with you on that, Belle. Yeah. But like, don't tell anybody I said that, because that'd be kind of embarrassing if the whole league knew I thought that. I won't tell anybody you thought that either. Don't worry. Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely gonna have to cop a jersey now that he's on the team. Oh, the jerseys? Yeah, you can get them at shop.spreadshirt.com/OWTranquility. And right now, Actually, starting tomorrow. If you use code anything20 through Thursday, you get 20% off all the stuff in there. So that's pretty rad, you know? Yeah, definitely. There's one shirt in there of NPC's head, and it's literally the funniest thing ever. It's the best one. If you had to get any of them, I'd suggest getting that 100%. Yeah, definitely. Well, I gotta get going. Gotta go take some feet pics, you know? But, like, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks for chatting with me. Yeah, talk to you later, girl. Bye!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Overwatch Tranquility. It's been a neck and neck match between Alt F4 and Invictus tonight. My name is TheLitsey, joined today by Dank Monkey. What do you think about these matches so far?
They're going extremely well. I wasn't 100% sure what to expect with Alt F4 being 1-4 and Invictus being 3-2. But, you know, just watching these games, it's not the game that I expected seeing their records. They're both just so close in these games. You know, we saw Volskaya come down to even around 3 where only one tick needed to be captured. It was such a close game. And then Li Zhang being super close as well, being 2-1, coming down to the wire, honestly. These games are definitely a lot better than I expected.
And we have had a couple of swaps. We are going to be seeing Lemon Ghoul leaving for Memorex, and also Shadow Devil is going to be going onto the Spectre bench in favor of Velo, whichever one that may be. And we are going to be getting into our next game before too long. And so it is going to be King's Row for our next map. So hybrid map, of course, lots of interesting things that can happen on those. You obviously have to take the first point, take the payload all the way to the end. And King's Row in particular has a lot of really interesting composition choices. And we've seen historically in Overwatch, oftentimes interesting comps are born here on King's Row.
King's Row also has some interesting lore as well with the payload, you know, being a bomb to bomb the Omnic City down below.
You are not a good person.
This is something that we've talked about before, isn't it?
I think we have, not probably over on different league that we've done. We've talked about this very specific thing. Yeah. And yeah, so like I said, you're delivering a bomb to scrap some bots, and you're getting paid for it. So
Getting
interesting compositions coming through here. This is something we've been seeing a lot is Grizz on the Hammond, and it has been working pretty well for the team. And one thing in particular that I am very happy seeing is that Grizz is playing Hammond as an off tank.
I do enjoy
and that
seeing
is a hill that I will die on.
That's something I enjoy seeing. I like seeing the Hammond and the Winston when they can work together, but it seems like a lot of times the Hammond and Diva, you know, are sometimes the better composition, but honestly, Booth and Grizz are playing this dive tank combo so well that it almost doesn't matter. I don't know how Grizz went that far, but I'm impressed.
And, you know, it's maximum mobility. It's got to be referenced. Also, thank you to Lemon Ghoul for subbing with Twitch Prime. Now, it's time for the fight. Grizz getting onto the back is going to be knocked around a little bit and has to escape back to the healers. Will be able to do it, going back in for a big knock, but hit by the anti, they won't be able to freeze, and he heals along with Booth. Both of them do fall, and it seems like the rest of their team is going to take their example and fall as well.
And that right there is why I love Sigma. You know, the fight is kind of getting to the point where you've already won it, and then a big rock comes out, and 100% just guarantees that you win that fight. You got somebody knocked down that easily gets picked off by the rest of your team if they're looking at them, and I enjoy seeing him come out, and I think Jet's going to do this character justice.
Jet throwing out an accretion, going for the big lob onto that farmers. It won't be able to pick it up though. Now, Grizz on the back trying to get the knockout, does catch two, but gets frozen shortly afterwards and taken out. Booth now swapped over to the D.Va, trying to get up onto the point, will be contesting it. But with the Hammond already down, will they be able to do it? Booth knocked out of the mech. Astro was able to pick up a kill onto Godspeed. Grizz is back, puts down some of the mine, but big tranquility there to keep everybody alive. Hingushu coming in with an incredibly prime ultimate. Now Ghost Pants nano boosted, outputting a lot of damage. Seems like right now just holding the point.
I enjoy seeing Jet try to go for that accretion on the pharmacy, because the stun from accretion actually doesn't start until the Pharah or the Mercy would hit the ground. So that's something that's kind of interesting to me on flying targets.
It's not the fall that kills you, it's hitting the ground. And now Aster using the Rocket Barrage nano boosted defense matrix to protect and picks up the triple kill. Blizzard to counter it though, does freeze at 3. Will that be enough? Godspeed getting knocked off of the point. That's the first tick, and it looks like that's going to be all she wrote.
And you know, that D.Va DM coming out on the nano boosted Pharah really just did so much there, because if you let Poet get that sleep dart off, then that could be a whole different fight. But because of that DM, you're not able to do anything to that Pharah. And if that Pharah is just able to sit there and get that Rocket Barrage completely off, then that's a fight win, 100% every time.
My ultimate is charging.
And now Ostories going around looking for the ultimate. Will they be able to find a way into the back? Gets seen by Asira though, and now is going to have to duel that Pharah for a little bit. And now Sigma ult coming in, won't be able to pick up any kills, and looks like Vela was able to pick up the counter against Jet as well. With Godspeed getting taken out, that payload is going to continue to move forward.
And O-Story's kind of coming out as the distraction there, not able to pick up anything, but getting the Pharah out of the fight, which is I think why the fight kind of started where it did. Not knowing that you don't have Azura in that fight could be a little bit detrimental for the side of Invictus, but you know, still they ended up pulling it around anyway, so it doesn't really matter all that much. But O-Story is kind of getting shut down on that Reaper ult attempt.
I think honestly, they probably just wanted to swap there. Now going onto a Pharah of their own, but Asira using the Rocket Barrage won't actually be able to pick up any kills, although brings many members of Ulta 4 incredibly low. Mines go up to try and secure this last little bit of the payload. 1 meter left. Will they be able to find it though? With several members of the side of Invictus falling, looks like they won't be able to take the point this time around, as Booth is just trying to get away with their life. Going to be knocked out of the mech, and right now just trying to be aggressive and get it back, or just get killed. Looks like won't be getting killed. Instead, going to be having to rely on that little blaster to try and get the mech back, as Grizzy tries to engage yet again, going for the ground pound on the high ground. Will be knocking around Ostories a little bit, but won't be able to get the kill. High Noon does pick out Hingushu, and that brings out the Mercy of the Far Mercy. That could be incredibly useful as here. Astra on the point, nano boosted, outputting a lot of damage. It's getting knocked around a lot though, gets frozen, but Immortality Field comes in to keep them nice and, well, not exactly tip shot, but not dying. As Jet, using the Primal Rage, tries to secure the point, won't be able to do it as the payload reaches the checkpoint.
Yeah, getting Hingushu there pretty early in the fight was a huge pick for them. Getting the pharmacy, or the Mercy, out of the pharmacy is gonna leave your team susceptible to a lot of damage. You know, Poet had really good positioning there, trying to hold on to all the healing, but solo healing as Ana is not the easiest thing to do, and you don't want to just waste that nano.
And Nuke comes in. Everybody's going to be surviving, but it does force a little bit of relocation. Able to get quite a lot of engage off of that. Sura getting caught out a little bit. Is going to be getting frozen. Will they be able to stay alive? Looks like it, thanks to healers working overtime here as Sura comes in with the Death Blossom to pick up a triple kill.
And that's the Death Blossom that O Stories was looking for, but Asura is the one that gets it instead.
And now just following up on to Ghost Pants in the back. Payload, though, isn't actually moving forward. That does give Jet time to get onto the plane. But with mines up, it's going to be harder to get to it. The Blizzard comes through, but gets eaten by Hungry Booth. Payload slowly inches forward. Now getting up onto the high ground. Memorex using the teeth to the most advantage, highest efficiency. Putting up that defense matrix, though, won't be able to keep Asura alive. Gets hit by the anti-nade, won't be able to stay alive. As Payload is slowly moving forward, just 1 minute left on the time clock. Jet contesting it, hit by the anti-nade. Although this Payload has been moving very consistently forward, there's not a lot of time left. Ghost Pants sends the nuke into the back, won't be able to pull it off, won't be able to stay alive, though. Now, Grizzy getting onto the back, trying to 1v1 the May. We can't really do that as the Hammond is going to be falling to O Stories. But Payload moving forward yet again. It's approaching the final circle here as Ghost Pants knocked out of the mech. Godspeed is going to be falling as well. And now Jet dropping mines onto the point is going to be doing quite a bit as Booth takes a ton of damage. He gets knocked out of the mech. O Stories now going to be falling up onto Asura, won't be able to pull it off. Poet is the last one to contest. If they can take Poet out fast enough, they'll be able to push the Payload to the end. No, Godspeed is there to contest it. Jet is there as well. Ghost Pants is the third. Grizz getting knocked up a little bit, will be able to stay alive. Goes for the spin. Jet and Grizz both spinning as fast as they can. It's going to be Godspeed, though, sent into the pit. Death Blossom, nano boosted, will be able to pick up a kill against Jet. Mines on the point are going to make it harder to contest. O Stories going to be trying to survive, will be able to do it for a little while longer, won't be able to do it for long, and that is going to be it in overtime all the way to the end.
And I gotta give it to Smirk in that fight, able to keep good positioning, hitting most of the healing shots that he needed to. The anti-nades were huge and able to capitalize on so many kills, along with the anti-nades, you know, hitting that same nade on teammates to be able to boost their healing, getting nano boosts where they needed to be, and just amazing mechanics there from Smirk. And that's why he was a player that we needed to look out for.
And that is the reason why Booth named Smirk one of their MVPs, just because the amount of healing Smirk is able to do to keep the team alive. A good Ana can do that, can output so much healing using the anti-nade, and can also open up an enemy team. A good anti-nade with a good call can completely shut down a team trying to attack or defend.
And if you make the enemy team scared to dive your Ana, then that's exactly what you need to do. Because every time that Smirk seemed to get dove, you know, you would sleep the Diva, or you sleep the Reaper, or whoever just came after him. It was just all around solid gameplay.
And that's also on Smirk keeping the sleep up for just the right time. Oftentimes you see Ana's just kind of throw a sleep into the enemy team. Oftentimes, that even if you do hit someone, that person is just going to be woken right back up from the damage going into the team. And now it is time for Alt F4's offensive. They start moving forward here. Jet forced to go back for the heals after getting a little bit surprised by those Symmetra turrets and also hit by an anti-nade. No, Asura is on the Symmetra. And will that work out on the defense? Jet hit by those turrets. It looks like it is going to be spinning this into Invictus's favor, as now they're going to be wiping out Alt F4.
And that looked like a really strong push coming in for Alt F4. But, you know, the the biotic grenade able to come out and just do a bunch of work again from Smirk, and the whole front line of Invictus able to just keep their position, not able not just giving up that ground for Jet to walk on.
As now trying to get another offensive in here. Ostories is going to be picking up a kill on Memorex, and that is a lot of healing now missing from Invictus as they start moving forward. They still have Smirk that was able to output quite a bit, but Booth caught off by the Maywall. Won't be able to receive any healing. Velo trying to use the high noon to contest this out a little while longer, won't be able to do it, and it's the last one standing. It does fall.
And that was a really good push there, you know, able to just enable your team a lot with the Maywall from Godspeed, able to cut off the healing coming to Booth, and that first pick onto Booth, or maybe it wasn't the first pick, but that pick essentially turns the fight. You know, Grizz got the nano boost, but was already frozen and kind of just got burned down at that point. So it was just really good coordination on the side of Alt F4 to get that wall and focus down the right targets.
Vela and Memorex trying to get up to the high ground, end up both falling to O-Stories. And that's pretty devastating, as now O-Stories does have a prime view onto the enemy backline. But does it matter? Looks like on the flip side, Invictus is continuing to move up and going to be taking out Godspeed.
O-Stories was trying to get something there, actually ended up getting Smirk, and this is a really good spot for a Widow to be in, especially when you're going against an aggressive team such as Invictus.
Makes it so that you really can't push past that corner without being behind a barrier. With an Orisa, that's not a mobile barrier that you can hide behind. Grizz using the whole hog and getting into this close quarters area can output a lot of damage, but has to back up for the healing. Caught off by the Maywall, gets a hook. Maywall does fall and allow for healing to go on to Grizz. In the meantime, double kill has out Ghost Pants and Godspeed, both taken out. Jet, pulled in by the halt, is going to fall as well. Grizz continues to move forward, as now Velo swapped over to the Widowmaker, is showing dominance here on the field.
That was such good peel from Invictus there to get Grizz out of the bookstore, I believe. You know, he gets walled off by the May, and that should have been an easy kill onto Grizz, but able to pressure a lot of the team out so they weren't able to get into the bookstore is really the key to why Grizz stays alive there.
And now Jet wanting to push past that Orisa barrier, going to be backed up by a Coalescence, and that's a hammer down, and it's going to be catching 3 members, but gets killed while charging by Velo. Clothesline by Widowmaker's shot, as now Booth frozen, caught out by the wall, hit by the Graviton Surge. Will these 3 members be able to stay alive? Smirk does fall. Have they bought enough time for the team to turn this around? Velo having to 1v1 O-Stories does get the kill. And that's going to be a cleanup from Invictus.
I didn't think the Graviton Surge was needed there from Alt F4, but obviously it was. I didn't expect Invictus to turn that fight around.
Apparently they needed more.
You had Grizz on the payload dealing with both supports, and I think that is really what turned that fight around for Invictus.
And also Velo being able to shut down Jet's charge there after getting the hammer down. Jet goes for the charge, gets hit, and also Velo's been showing absolute dominance here on the Widowmaker. And it's actually forced O-Stories to swap off onto the Doomfist.
And I think that's a good call for O-Stories to go over to that. He's, you know, was showing a lot of potential on that Doomfist, and playing into someone who is just bodying you isn't the way to get value over a character.
Booth cut off by the Maywall, able to stay alive though, thanks to the Symmetra turret. Now trying to engage on these 2 members hiding inside of the pub. Booth caught by the Maywall, going to be caught out from the whole ally team, going to be trying to get back, going to be trying to get a kill onto Jet first though, will be able to find it. Now though, will they receive enough support from the team as they're cut off from another Maywall? No, able to get back to the team, able to receive healing. Grizz frozen, going to be brought back though. Ghost Pants hook will be falling into Asura. Now Maywall to buy side of Alt F4 a little bit of space, but with just 1 minute left, they have a lot of ways to go to get to this checkpoint. And Invictus wants to secure this win here if they want to secure the match overall. But hit by the Earthshatter and the Blizzard, 3 members knocked down for Frozen Smirk. the only one who is able to walk away from that, getting back to Booth and Memorex.
Hingushu getting hooked there was really the go-ahead for Invictus to get super aggressive, and now Booth is in a lot of trouble.
Booth caught out by the enemy team falling. That means no main tank for this last checkpoint here. You have to make a tough call. Do you swap to someone more mobile and get to the point faster? Do you think you can contest it? Whole Hog says maybe they can, and Astra able to get on there as the Reaper contests this a little while longer, but they're going to need some support. Grizz now they're trying to hold it a little while longer. Won't be able to get any kills though, and the payload does reach the checkpoint. 1 minute 30 left. Take it to the end.
O-Story is right there, just proving why that Doomfist was a better pick for him. Now getting a ton of value where the Widow wasn't doing poorly on the Widow, but Velo was just able to get so many more picks because of the comps that they're running. The whole team of Alt F4 Invictus able to just sit behind the Orisa barrier. Not a whole lot of room for the Widow to work, but now Doomfist is able to do a lot more.
So Velo is going to be swapping over to the McCree, but there's a lot of aggression coming through here, where Invictus had to fight for every inch. Alt F4 is taking in one fell swoop. It looks like they will be taking it all the way to the end with 1 minute and 42 seconds left.
Now both teams get time here. Invictus does have a minute to try to get it as far as they can, with Alt F4 now having 142. So this could be a 6-6 game potentially.
It is down to the wire like every match has been so far. And now it's a matter of which team can do this the quickest. Like I said, just 1 minute, essentially on both sides, 1 minute and 1 minute 42. And, how far can Invictus go in 1 minute?
Sorry. This is why I like watching the hybrid maps. When you get a minute to do as much as you possibly can, it's really interesting to me because sometimes you see, teams not even cap the first point and just get completely shut down by defense, but other times you just see people take that minute and run with it. They instantly cap the first point, they take it all the way through the second checkpoint and take it all the way to the end. And that's the kind of fights that are really interesting because it's not always just steamroll through this team. There's a lot of times that it's, this is a really crazy fight, and it's still like anybody's fight at any moment, and then it just turns out with like one or two people on that payload, and that's what I like seeing.
And so Alt F4 taking a more risky play, going to get seen by that Hanzo Recon arrow. And that is going to allow Villa to pick out Godspeed. And that is going to cause quite a bit of trouble for the side of Alt F4 as they try now to get onto the point. Jet taking a lot of damage, having to back off. And O-Story is not able to contest the point thanks to those Symmetra turrets.
There, Invictus was just 100% ready for something weird that Alt F4 was going to try. Alt F4, tries to set up in the little side building there. I don't know what to call it. The hotel, I guess.
That's hotel, yep.
Yeah, hotel there. And they were 100% ready for it. Velo, he's scouting, not seeing anybody, and then scouting with that sonar arrow. Even if you just catch the Mei and the main tank there, which they did, that's your go-ahead, like, hey, we need to do something different.
Invictus is making the right call here, though. They backed off of the point, and now they're able to hold it farther up. With Grizz getting taken out, normally if you take the point and wipe the team doing it, you're assured a push at least halfway up to the second checkpoint. But here, Invictus is able to engage right here in the gate. But the Dragon Strike coming through, it isn't going to be catching anybody. Piccolo is the last one alive trying to hold the point. Grizz hit by the Earth Shatter is going to get charged away in overtime, is going to tick down right into the gate.
And that was a really good spot for Alt F4 to engage. They were able to engage onto that defense, get that payload moving as little as possible, and Invictus just wasn't able to do anything about it.
And that is huge here. Like I said, normally when you take the first point in Kings Row, you're guaranteed to get up to the pub, past the bookshop. Sometimes you can get up to the second checkpoint. And like I said, sometimes still you can get even further. But this affords a lot of opportunity for Invictus here. Or rather Alt F4 here, they just have to take the point, and they just have to take it more convincingly.
This is where, if you're Invictus, you have to realize 100% when that point is lost, and you just have to regroup for that next fight. You have to be ready to take that fight as soon as possible, because you can't let it get through that choke. If you let it get through that choke point, then the game's over.
And now, setting up on this defense, Asura is going to be on the Bastion yet again. Going to be setting up on the high ground. Could work very well. Once again, could work very well. Or could go wrong, as we have seen it go wrong just earlier today on Volskaya Industries. Now, we'll see how Alt F4 deals with this. Looks like they're going to be going directly into the hotel. Good call, as now they can utilize a little bit more of sightline abuse here. Is going to force the Zero to relocate down onto the ground. But it's not enough. Osroys and Jet have both fallen. Ghostbands having to fall back along with the rest of the team, using the wall to buy them a little bit of time. Villo up at the top, providing lots of damage from above, but there's really no one on the point left to kill. Now they're coming up onto the high ground. Just 3 members left. They're going to have to wait for their team to come back and support them in a little bit of a pinch maneuver here. And we'll see how that works. As now Asura is setting back up on the high ground, outputting a ton of damage through that hallway, is going to allow a kill onto Ghostbands. That's a huge stagger here. Asura is setting back up on the high ground, outputting damage onto the point, having to relocate back to that corner, not dropping down quite yet. Good call, as he probably would have gotten killed by Jet's charge there. Bob, now on the point, is blasting away and dealing tons of damage, taking out 2 members of Alt F4. Just 25 seconds left. One push if they're fast. But with Godspeed on the point, is going to get staggered out. They're going to have to do it with just 5 members.
It didn't look like either team was really 100% ready for that fight. Invictus was trying to decide whether they want to just fight the point or if they want to take out the people up top. And I think the decision came out a little bit too late because the fight was already started.
But now taking the aggression straight onto the point, there's a signal. It is going to be catching Ghostpants. It's going to get taken out of the mech while in the air, and is now going to be trying to get that mech back using the Immortality Field. There is the Blizzard, though, and it's going to be catching 4 members of Invictus here. Will they be able to hold the point after that? 2 of them have fallen. 4 of them have fallen. They will not be able to hold on to this point, but will they be able to contest that payload? We'll see, as now the last one does fall. Booth, the point is being taken. You're going to have to move forward quickly to hold that gate.
Losing Booth here is really what's going to set them back, because you're not going to have your Orisa spawn. Oh, nope, you do have your tank spawn back in time. So now they're switching over to the Ball Diva. They have to get to this point as soon as they possibly can to even be able to get a contest.
So Grizz is in the back, but has been seen by Alt F4. Ostroys is trying to deal with that right now. Jet trying to use the ground pound to block Grizz off, but the wall does that as well. But Immortality Field keeps Grizz alive as they fall back, and it looks like this is going to be a fight for the point. Enough stall has come through to buy Invictus just enough time to try and secure this. Asura trying to get in there and deal damage, but can't survive against Ostroy's Blade, who has picked up 3 kills. Going to be trying to follow up onto the remaining 4 members of Invictus here as they're trying to defend. There's not a lot of space to go, as Grizz is contesting the point for as long as they can. Maywall has worn off. There's the mines inside of the point for Alt F4. Mines on the point as well for Invictus, but Ghostpants with the double nuke is going to secure this.
Alt F4. That May was such a good pick in that certain situation there. Knowing that you only have to get through that choke, you're able to just wall it off. And every time you wall it off, that cuts off reinforcements on the payload. And I think that's what's key there, because if you let the whole team just keep cycling into the payload, that could be a different fight. but you're staggering back reinforcements even more than they already are. And I think that was probably the MVP pick of the match.
Was huge here, as now Kings Row is going to Alt F4. It's now 2-2-1, and this could go either way for both teams.
This will be our fourth map of the night, and we are going to be going to Route 66. So it will be just a normal payload map. And I think we saw, pretty much both teams looking really good on the payload portion of Kings Row. So I'm not sure who this game is going to go to.
Like I said, it could go either way. Alt F4 could take this all the way to the end. We'll have to see if they can pull that off. But now we are going to be seeing Shadow Devil coming back in for Asura. And one thing to mention, I don't think we said this earlier, this is going to be Shadow Devil's last game here in Overwatch Tranquility. Shadow is going to be going over to Open Division. And this could very well be Shadow Devil's last map. When, to be fair, when Shadow Devil left, and although Vela did incredibly well, wasn't able to pull out the win for Invictus. Alt F4 ended up picking it up. But will they be able to secure out Route 66 and secure the match of the day?
Shadow Devil is doing a really good job. I think on that Doomfist really is his comfort pick, and I could be completely wrong on that, but that's something that I really like seeing him play here. He is just so strong on it, and, I personally can't play Doomfist, so watching people play Doomfist is very pleasing to me.
I can play Doomfist in quick play. And so Route 66, lots of different strategies can work here. Oftentimes you see just sort of slightly mobile team comps coming through here. And because although you do have to stay on the payload, there's oftentimes, for the offense, you have to assault up onto the enemy team that is staying somewhere. So oftentimes dive works very well offensively, especially in that first checkpoint.
This is a map that I've always kind of seen as, I feel like people should hold a little bit closer. I understand the appeal of Big Earls, having that high ground and being able to drop down and rotate around is always really cool. But this first segment of this map feels like you only really get one good fight. Personally, I like holding a lot closer, holding where you can initially see payload, because if you lose that first fight, then it's almost like you just lost the whole first checkpoint.
And yeah, if you like you said, if you're set up on Big Earls and the enemy team engages on top of you and you just get wiped, that, like I said, it's essentially that first checkpoint gone. But oftentimes the fight gets staggered out, teams fall back, and it can work out to being a much longer affair. Booth getting frozen, Jet trying to output some damage onto him, won't be able to quite find it, although Grizz is caught out by the Maywall, receiving a lot of damage, is going to be killed. And that's not looking good for the side of Invictus, as they have to fall back.
Smirk got caught out a little bit ambitious there, coming down that side ramp, trying to get good angle for when his team engaged, and O-Stories caught that immediately and said, no, Smirk, you're not standing there. You wait your turn to be able to go around this corner, and you go around that corner when I tell you you can.
And now with Shadow Devil on the Widowmaker is trying to create a pick for the team. Goes for the hook shot, won't be able to find it. Booth trying to create a front line along with Grizz. Now Grizz getting onto the top, going to be going for the ground pound, trying to create just chaos in the enemy team. Won't be able to quite find it though. Now using mines inside of Big Earls, it's going to be pretty difficult for Godspeed to get out of there. Has to try and take the slow surgical approach. Will be able to do it. Now Hingishu is using the coalescence. Will be able to take out Booth. and providing lots of support for the team in the meantime. Now, Shadow Devil swapped over to the Doomfist, won't be able to get into the enemy team and do much, will fall.
You know, Grizz putting that minefield in Big Earls, I don't want to say it was a bad play, but it was almost a better play for the side of Alt F4 because, you know, you're forced out of that spot where this team can be extremely deadly. If you let the Doomfist just run free inside of that gas station, then you might just lose that fight on that alone.
As now it's going to be Oster using the mindset, and that's going to completely swap out any sort of exit. But while they were gone doing that, their entire team has fallen. Just Ghost Pants and Godspeed trying to hold on. Won't be able to do it as Godspeed is taken out. Payload moves forward.
I think that's the third Blizzard that Booth has eaten tonight. I know that there has been 3 Blizzards eaten, and I think they were all Booth.
I think, yeah, they've all been Booth. Hungry Booth.
Very hungry Booth.
Smacks lips. And now being able to get out alive, Memorex using the Guardian able to get right back with the team. Oster is on the Doomfist, gets slept, able to get right back up though. Ghost Pants trying to create a bit of offense. These are very interesting compositions, seeing 2 Hammonds going at each other. Now, Ghost Pants, though, is all the way into the back, ends up getting slept, and it's going to be followed up by Shadow Devil. That is going to allow Grizz to start moving forward. Ends up getting frozen, though, getting healed up, kept alive. Now, Shadow Devil getting caught a little bit by Ostroy, able to stay alive, able to get back to the team. As Ostroy is falling to Velo. And Grizz getting up onto the high ground, now falling down. And this is a fight going all the way up to that checkpoint. There's Sigma Ultimate. It is going to be catching Shadow Devil, who is going to be staying alive, but falls directly into the mines. Does fall to those. And now, following up, Ghost Pants is going to be taking out Memorex. Bello and Smirk have both fallen. And so that is going to be a full hold, or not a full hold, but that is going to be a successful defense for Alt F4.
Even though you lose that fight, it's almost a win, because if you are Invictus there, you are pushing that fight to the doors. You know, you don't want them to come out. Smirk was able to get this cart halfway through the checkpoint, and I think that's really what the key was there. Able to get all that movement basically for free. You lose a fight, oh well, you still have all of that payload progression.
And O-Stories tried to use the mirrors, tried to get right into the enemy team. It is going to be followed up with Shadow, who just used to get back to the team and receive some healing. Now, Ghost Pants is all the way back behind the enemy team, and they're going to be, getting that Mega Health Pack, and going to be now coming back, and will be able to provide some support in time before their team does fall. But now, hit by the sleep. It is woken up, actually, and Godspeed is able to pick up a kill with the Blizzard on Tabella. With Grizz down as well, that's not looking good for the side of Invictus, as they now are having to reset and try this offensive again.
O-Stories has completely changed the way that he's playing Doomfist now that Shadow Devil is in and was on that Doomfist, because he's just playing kind of defensive. He's playing more with his backline because he knows that Shadow Devil is a good enough Doomfist so he can come in and just delete his backline. And now O-Stories just kind of sitting back there, and every time that Shadow came in, he was right there on top of it.
And seeing that Shadow has swapped over to the McCree. Now Grizz Nanoboost is trying to get right onto the enemy team using the mines. Not going to be catching anybody, but it is going to be sealing off that area a little bit. Jet able to use the shield to just completely wipe it out, but won't be able to use the shield for a little bit. Receives enough barrier onto health, though, to stay alive. Now, Sigma Ultimate won't be catching anybody from Jet. Or actually did manage to catch Grizz, just didn't look like it, as Grizz was caught inside of Garage. And a lot of follow-up on to Velo. Velo's also going to fall. With just 15 seconds left, it really comes down to this last push. This is looking huge for Alt F4 here, as they're wanting to take his all the way. Mines to completely seal off that entryway. It is just Booth to contest the point. Is able to get on there to trigger overtime, though, as now Grizz swapped over to the Sigma, is able to provide some shields. Shadow Devil caught by one stray mine, won't be able to get onto the point to contest it. And Ghost Stories on the Doom providing, or rather Ghost Pants on the Hammond to provide lots and lots of defense, will be able to secure that out. Round 1 complete.
The minefield there from Ghost Pants was really good, you know, able to block off that entire doorway. It makes you take time and clear out that doorway if you're the side of Invictus. And once you get that cleared out, you really don't have time to touch. You are in this state of panic of, oh man, we have to get to the payload. And, you know, only one person ended up getting there, setting it over to the overtime. And I think that's what really won Alt F4 that fight, is just the state of panic that Invictus was in.
And absolutely. And here with Invictus, they were only able to push the payload up 56 meters. And that, in this map in particular, Route 66, that's not very far. Oftentimes you see the payload get to the second checkpoint and it's a battle for the third. But here they're going to have to fight to hold it just here right at Garage, which is not an easy task.
And it looks like now they're going to be bringing out Shadow Devil on the Bastion for the side of Invictus, which could be a really good call, but I don't think we've really seen Bastion work that well yet. So it might not be the right call, but I guess there's only one way to find out.
And, you know, like you said, I was thinking the same thing. Every time we've seen a Bastion today, hasn't quite worked effectively as they've wanted, but could always happen here. Ghost Pants on the Hammond is going to get seen by the Hanzo arrow, but won't get hooked by Grizz, waiting for the right moment to go in. Grizz keeping a watchful eye, though, ready for the hook, as the payload slowly moves forward. Shadow Devil outputting a lot of damage to that defensive team. They're having to rely on Jet's barrier, which can't stay up for long against that Bastion damage, but it is able to stay up enough to allow the team to push up. But has it now fallen? Now Grizz is going to be trying to engage. Shadow Devil, able to get into turret form before getting knocked up, is going to scare Grizz away. Now setting up here at the edge of the sheet metal, up at the high ground. Grizz now getting down onto point to contest it and trying to keep it from moving forward any further. O-Stories on the backline is going to get taken out. Immortality Field to keep that backline alive. Godspeed pulled back in by the halt is going to be taking a lot of damage, but not before actually freezing Shadow Devil, and able to allow Jet to pick up the kill there. Is still staying alive. Wasn't quite focused down fast enough. Poet hooked in, stays alive as well. Grizz going to be knocking Jet out of the mech, though, and a lot of follow-up is coming through from Alt F4 here as they're getting onto the point, as they're continuing to contest this. And that's what we've been seeing a lot of today, is just this trickle battle, this war of attrition against two teams. Not a whole lot of huge coordinated team wipes, but a lot of slow battles here with a lot of stuff going on at once. Booth is back on the Hammond and will be trying to follow up onto the enemy team, but Alt F4 is pushed back.
I really like Shadow Devil, you know, after he goes back to the respawn room on the Bastion after dying, he goes to the Doom Fist. And that's such a change of playstyle. You go from sitting in one spot to, okay, your backline's mine. And that's the element of surprise that comes really well with those swaps.
And now Booth getting right on something. Enemy team having to fall back. Amplification Matrix to come through, but hit by the Blizzard. Will they stay alive? 3 members hit by that. A nuke to follow through. Will be nearly wiping out the side of Invictus, as now just 2 members left to try and contest the point. Shadow Devil and Booth here. Will they be able to stall out enough time for their team to get there? Doesn't look like it, as they're just trying to stall as much time as possible. Booth does fall, and the payload is going to make it to the checkpoint.
Alt F4 ends up using 5 ultimates in that fight, but it doesn't really matter because about the same came out from Invictus as well, and now Invictus completely has their ult economy reset, with 30% being the highest ult percentage they have. Alt F4 is in a really good position on ultimate charge here over Invictus.
Absolutely, as and now trying to continue to follow up and get the stagger here. Ostory able to take out Shadow Devil, and that is huge, and is going to buy their team a ton of time. Booth having to use the Fortify to stay alive. Ostory does get caught out, though. Grizz is blocked off by the wall, trying to get back to TV, is able to get back underneath the shield. Going to get caught by the Coalescence, though, piercing right through that Orisa barrier. And now the payload is approaching that checkpoint. Will Alt F4 be able to bring it to a game 5 here? Memorex, hold on here. There's the Dragons going to be holding this point a little while longer. This is looking good for Ostories as they clean up the point and will be able to take the map. Alt F4 is taking it to game 5.
And that was a really dominant push through the second checkpoint there. Unfortunately, not able to pull out the defense, but Shadow Devil getting that play of the game in his last game here with Overwatch Tranquility. In that gas station, and that's the exact thing I was talking about earlier, just letting your Doomfist run wild in there is so strong.
Well, we don't know if this, or rather, we don't even know if this is going to be Shadow Devil's last game, because we have one more round to go with Alt F4 evening this out. We got a game 5 to get to now.
I just meant game overall in the night.
That's
we
fair.
Still got one more
round.
match.
Round,
yeah,
game.
match.
I never know which one to say.
I don't
It goes
either.
back and forth. And so our tiebreaker map is going to be Oasis. Or no, rather it's going to be Busan. Getting into that very quickly here. And so that offers a lot of interesting things. Well, I haven't seen a lot of Busan in this sort of semi-pro competitive environment. So this is this is going to be the last match of the day. Seeing if there's any swaps coming through.
Busan is one that I know caught a lot of flack and still probably catches quite a bit. It's not the favorite control point map, but I really enjoy the aesthetic of it and how different each point is. You have the downtown setting, the mecha base, and then you just drop a giant drum in the middle of the third one, and there's your point. It's really interesting. I'm interested to see how long Poet's going to be able to stall out on the one with the drum. I always forget what that one specifically is called. Sanctuary. That's what it is. But I'm interested to see how long Poet is going to be able to stall on the Lucio, being able to just kind of stand around on the drum if he has to, if it does come down to that, because that's always fun to me.
And now getting straight into Busan. It could be, or not what could be, what is the last match of today? It's been back and forth. And we'll see who can pull out the win here. Alt F4, will they be able to secure the reverse sweep, or will Invictus clean this out?
This should definitely be an interesting game. These games, again, have been so close, and the first control point map tonight was such a close game. I'm really excited to see what these teams play and how they play it on this map 5, knowing that the whole game is on the line now.
Yep. And now we're going to get a look at these teams' compositions and get an idea of what their strategies are going to be. Looks like over on the side of Alt F, we're going to be continuing to see more of the Hammond Diva gameplay here with Godspeed on the Doomfist, which we haven't seen a whole lot. Normally it's O-Stories on the Doomfist, but that for now. Also, we're going to be seeing, or there was a swap. In the meantime, Shadow Devil was replaced with Esther. So that was Shadow Devil's last game. So everybody press F in the chat to pay respects to everything that Shadow Devil has given us. As now we get into this match with Booth getting knocked out by Ostory straight away. That is huge with no main tank. Invictus now trying to hold on to the point. and Godspeed following up, providing a lot of damage, is actually going to get taken out by Vela here, but Vela is going to fall as well. And this is the point is about to go over to Alt F4 here, but not before more contention comes out from side of Invictus here. As Ghostpants has fallen, looks like Invictus is going to be able to make a real play for this, as now Booth is back. 2 coalescences coming through to try and keep these teams alive through the onslaught. Poet cut out a little bit, tries to get the boot, will be able to stay alive, but Velo using the Death Blossom to take out Jet, following up onto Poet. That point is going to Invictus.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of Sigma here tonight. You know, it's usually just one on each team, though. I'd kind of like to see both teams run a Sigma at some point. I think it'd be really interesting to see those head-to-head battles. You know, a bunch of rocks coming out everywhere, a ton of shield, but at the same time, not a huge fan of double barrier.
So the mines come through from Ghostpants, but a sound barrier to keep everybody alive. But that Trixie Frog getting caught out by O-Stories there. Symmetric barrier to provide some protection for the team from that Widowmaker. O-Stories has been absolutely popping off on this map. Grizz able to pick up a kill onto Ghostpants as Jet is getting right into the enemy team, but too much damage comes through, uses the nuke to get it right back and picks up a double kill in the meantime, able to get a third in baby form, able to follow up onto Booth as well. Huge plays from the Diva here as Velo is taken on. The point goes to Alt F4.
Huge plays from the Diva. Very well said. Getting the 3K there, 1 in baby form. Really just a huge ultimate and one of the biggest Diva bombs that I've seen in a little while.
And now it's a matter of it's 58 to 19%. A good take and a couple of holds can bring this point to the side of Invictus, but they have a long ways to go. They had to get through Alt F4. A boop doesn't quite pan out for him, or does pick out Astra, as now Coalescence comes through, and Smirk falls as well to Ghostpants, able to use that grapple hook effectively. Grizz and Booth are both going to fall just to reset the point, or reset the respawn.
That's a direction that you can't take if you've got a Lucio like Poet and a ball like Ghostpants. That's not somewhere that you should feel safe going. That's such a huge boot potential, and if you somehow make it through there, I don't think you're gonna have a very good time on that ledge anyway.
And now using the Symmetry Barrier to get right up top, now dropping down to get behind the enemy team. Seems like they've trickled a little bit though, and following up with the mines. Ghostpants completely throwing Invictus into disarray. Grizz trying to get on the point, falls to the mines as well.
Alt F4 has such a strong defense right now. The minefield there, really well placed, able to zone out, and it picks up 2 kills because of it. One steps into a mine and you're able to just punch him down, and then now Booth trying to come in with the ball just to stall out just a little bit.
It won't be able to get there in time, as that point does go to Alt F4 here, and that is going to give them a lot of opportunity here, as now they just have to win 1 more point to get the reverse sweep. And it's going to be here on Sanctuary to see if they can pull that off.
And this is the one I was talking about. You drop the drum in the middle, and this point gets a lot more interesting. There's a lot of cover here, and a lot of things for Poet and Memorex, if he goes back to that Lucio, for those two to just kind of dance around and off of, where Jet as well on the Diva is going to be able to just contest a lot of that point from the drum, and O-Stories might have a good time actually switching off of the Doomfist onto the Widowmaker, so not going to have as much of a fun time on top of there.
And O-Stories was doing very well as Widowmaker just earlier, but now Velo is on Widowmaker as well. And last time we saw these two Widows duel, it was Velo who was coming out on top. And there we go, able to get a kill on to O-Stories. Grizz has fallen though, so it is 1-4-1. But Alt F4 has to be able to get onto the point to capture it. Ghostpan's getting the knockup. Going to get stunned by Memorex and frozen shortly afterwards, able to get away with their lives though. And now it is Grizz trying to get onto that back line. Won't be able to quite find it as Ghostpants is able to follow through and get right on top of Velo there. And now this is looking good for Alt F4. They've taken the point and they are now cleaning up the side of Invictus.
And Booth staying alive pretty long here could be really bad for his team as he just now ends up falling. And now it's just Grizz probably going to be able to make it out, though, about half HP. And that's a huge stagger onto the main tank. But now Booth almost has Bongo just from staying in there just a little bit longer. But so does most of his team coming up on their ultimates pretty soon.
And right now, the side of Alt F4 are currently sitting on 3 ultimates. These are big ones too. The Minefield, the Coalescence, and the Dragon Blade. A lot can happen with those. But there is a double kill. Grizz able to pick up 2 members of Alt F4. Ghostpants trying to even it out with the mines. Will be able to do quite a bit of damage against Booth, but it gets healed up very quickly and does get taken out, as well as Godspeed, who is still holding on to the Dragon Blade very wisely, as Jet tries to contest this a little while longer by staying up on top of the drum. Won't be able to stay up there. Trying to get the mech back, won't be able to do it.
You know, Booth getting staggered there it seemed like a lot more of a problem than it actually was, because it gave their team just a little bit more time to get that passive alt regen and, you know, really just full regroup and think about how they want to take this point. And they did that with only using, I believe, 2 ultimates there, and they still have this blade. They have Bomb coming up very soon, and they have Sound Barrier. But Invictus now is going to be looking at 3 ultimates online. So this could be a very ultimate-heavy fight.
Now the first one to come through is the Mines. Able to get out of it very quickly. Jet now setting up inside of the circle window, now going towards the enemy team. There's a nuke and there's a Dragon Blade, but the Blizzard is going to be zoning off Godspeed quite a bit and is going to fall, as Invictus is going to be holding on to this point yet again as we approach 50%.
I really like the defensive defensive use of the Blizzard there. As soon as you hear Dragon Blade come out, just immediately chuck that at your feet, and it's going to be really hard for the Genji to get any value out of that. And just such a good play there from Godspeed.
Now, Hishu is able to pick up an ultimate here. Coalescence could be huge here. Grizz onto the back, able to get a good knockup. Hishu using that Coalescence. Jet is hit by the anti-nade, though. Won't be able to be getting any heals. Able to fall back, though. Able to stay alive a little while longer. And now starting to get some healing, but dropping very low. Possibly going to get knocked out of mech. Godspeed staying alive, as now Invictus is falling. After taking the point to 90%, it looks like they won't be able to contest it out much longer, as Asura does fall and the point goes over to Alt F4. All they have to do is hold this point, and they have it.
My mistake. Asura was the one that threw the Blizzard defensively, and Godspeed was the Genji. So Asura getting Blizzard back extremely fast, now already at 93%. That's not an ult that I usually see charge very quickly, so that's really good in my book.
Now going to have to get onto the point right now as we approach 90%, using the rally to get the team a little bit of extra armor. Memorex getting right up into the fray and picking up a double kill against Alt F4 is going to be huge for Invictus as they start trying to take the point. Mine's also doing a great job of zoning it out. As now overtime is triggered. It's 99% as Jet tries to hold it a little while longer, but overtime 6-0, and we're going to the last round.
And again, a game that is so down to the wire with both teams now 1-1. This is still anybody's match because both of these points were so close. And both teams are making the swaps that are necessary. You saw the Genji play come out and it wasn't working going against the Mei. and you saw the Widow play come out. Both Widows ended up swapping off. You saw, Velo switch over to that Tracer to try to deal with a couple people. And, these teams are making really good swaps to each other's comps, and I think that's what is keeping these games so close.
Absolutely. It's been neck and neck, and this matches it as well, as now this is the last point. Will Invictus be able to clean it out? We'll see as both teams start approaching the high ground. Grizz, they're first going to be looking to disrupt the enemy team coming in from behind. Both teams doing a lot of swapping around, a lot of maneuverability here. As now Jet, hit by the anti-nade, does wear off, able to receive some healing. O-Stories trying to engage, ends up having to fall back after being slowed down by the Mei. Godspeed able to freeze both Booth and Velo. Not able to pick up anything off of that, though. Now O-Story is able to use that Zarya Bear to stay alive. Now it's time to get onto the point. Alt F4 have started capturing. It looks like they will be able to, as Grizz is knocked off of it, and they have captured.
This is going to be such a dominant comp, I believe, for the side of Alt F4. Running the Rein Zarya against a Orisa Ball. I think the Orisa Ball could work, and it has been working pretty well, but Grizz has to be so up in your face as soon as the Rein Zarya engage, and now switching over to the Rein Zarya, I believe, is the best call.
Grizz dropping incredibly low, brought up by the Nano Boost. Now frozen, though. Trying to follow through, gets a charge onto Godspeed. Will be able to have it connect, and Invictus is cleaning up here, as now just the last member of Alt F4 trying to contest the point a little while longer. Higushu stunned, is going to get taken out.
And 3 kills by Booth coming out there with on the Zarya, already at 50% ult charging. Grizz already at 80%. So this Rein Zarya switch was definitely the right call here. They're playing it extremely well.
O-Story is getting deep into the enemy team. Is able to pick up a kill onto Velo. Not able to follow with too much after that, but doesn't matter. The team is now there, and he continues to move forward. Now it is just Smirk and Booth trying to hold onto this point. They can't do it, and the point does go to Alt F4.
Jet and O-Story is able to just walk through that fight, able to pick up 2 apiece, and now O-Story falls just a little bit late, but he should be able to get back in time, being on that Doomfist. But they were just kind of able to push their way through, and Jet swinging his hammer, and O-Story's punching anything in his way along. Just so much damage.
And now there's the rally to try and give the side of Invictus the little bit of extra oomph that they need to get through, but looks like they aren't really able to do it. 2 hammer downs, both get canceled out. Grizz goes way into the backline with a charge, does get taken out afterwards, but has it opened up Alt F4 enough to get taken out? And it looks like they have, as Invictus once again captures the point, 33-79.
Velo there popping the Deadeye, ends up getting Jet through his shield, breaks it down enough because of all the shots coming through and hitting it. The shot ended up killing him as well, and as Grizz and Booth were able to just kind of walk through the rest of the team doing that tank combo thing.
Graviton Surge catches the members of Alt F4, and they are falling. Invictus, they want to end it here. They don't want to get reverse swept, and so far it is working for him, as Jet does fall while trying to escape. As we approach 65% capture, they could pull it out right here.
And Azura playing a really aggressive Mei here is really just pushing their Rein Zarya duo over the top, able to really just aggress onto that backline or into the team fight whenever they need to, not getting focused down hard enough, honestly.
Alt F4 receiving a lot of energy from the chat, but can they do it? They've almost taken the point. It was just 79%. It would be huge. Jet gets a knockdown, but isn't able to get enough follow through on it. Grizz putting out so much damage. Godspeed does fall. It's 97%. It's 99%. It goes to 100. Not any contention. Invictus wins the match.
Invictus takes this one away but it was such a close game all night. Ended up coming out 3-2 with Invictus on top, and then on that final map 2-1. But just all the way through every single round, every game, such a huge, such a good game. And then that bomb coming out, getting both Azura and Smirk there, and then able to pick off the Lucio and Baby Diva form. Really good play by both teams tonight.
It was huge, and the teams are exchanging the GGs in the chat. It has been edge of our seat.